Happy Thursday, brother.
Yo, to you as well. What's the word? How you doing?
Nothing. It's a very special time of year.
Oh yeah, tell me why? Cause it's your birthday? Is that why?
That's why, because it's my
Yeah.
birthday.
I hear that. I hear that. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, brother. You actually was
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, and I know you showered with me with love on yesterday. But
Mm-hmm.
I'll celebrate all month long, and it's the specialist time of year because we are twins right now. So I
Mm-hmm.
love that
Mm-hmm.
time of year for us because I can officially boss you around. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sarita. I'm the now same age as my brother half of my siblings here. And I'm always joined every Thursday in the Rose Garden by my exceptionally brilliant and gifted brother, who not only you didn't do the obligatory text yesterday. So I'm going to give you such kudos. You actually called me and let me hear your voice and say, "Sister, happy birthday." So I love that. I love
Boy,
all.
I just lucked out on that because I was gonna text you. I don't know why I called instead.
I mean, you know what it is? It's you can get all this self-correction through the group chat. You're like a better person. So the phone,
Nah, I'll be correcting the group chat. The group chat ain't done nothing for me. Yeah, I mean, ain't nobody correcting me. I'm lining it up for them to give them better awareness because I could see that there's definitely some gaps that people got that they need to
you know what?
because for sure I feel like you know what it is, like I told you what brother West was saying, it's the fantasy land that the feminine consciousness is living in, like y'all thinking like you don't want y'all want it. It's just like y'all don't want to look at your Carfax. Y'all want to see a certain level of value in yourself that it's just like you know what that's like to me.
What?
Let's take something that seemingly has no value, right? Like let's, for lack of a better word, just to say the stuff that's expelled from the human body, the excrement, right?
Okay.
That has no value. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
that's like somebody taking that human excrement and saying, this should have value, and I'm going to a marketplace and I'm gonna sell it for something, and you need to see the value that this has. And no, it don't like in that kind of a way it don't. But there's one way that human excrement or any animal's excrement has value, and that's in the production of manure for fertilizer, right? For plants. Or you know, sometimes in the compost for what they call that mulch. So those are two places only
So
that
then,
that,
if
that
you
has
if we
value
buy your
only.
silly argument, the idea that these things don't have value have been debunked because you just gave them two reasons that they have
But
value.
I gave you two specific places. Now the
There are
group
other
chat
places.
people.
Let me tell you, the group chat would argue because I'm gonna speak up for my group chat. They got a lot to say. The group chat would argue that in scientific research, excrement actually has great purpose because they study excrement to understand people's eating habits. They actually study it to identify courses of disease. So,
Well, I'll take that logic and say that
so there's some
the
value, I
value
guess,
the
it's
value
depending
the
on where it
value
is.
that the value that let's just call it like what our grandmother Rose would say. To take an extreme example, because sometimes you got to take extreme examples to do this. But the value that a tramp has, right, is in this research analysis that a person can gain from it. The the wisdom that you get from the interaction. But so I totally agree with you on that. But what I'm telling you is trying to go out and sell excrement and all that stuff, that ain't, that has no value.
It has
You
no
know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah,
you
that
know
has
what?
no
For the
value at all.
purposes, since I'm celebrating my birthday all month, and I want to be in a cheerful mood, and I don't, and I want the group. Look, the group chat was already on fire with you. Okay, the last time we were together, and I had to calm them all down, and then you sent me a meme that um you sent me this meme that got all of us talking. It not really a meme. It was like a short. It was a video
Right,
short,
right, 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 right.
and it got all of us talking about what we are doing to each other as people and humans, right? So the gist of the video was, it was the pop the balloon segment where
Hmm.
they the speaker brought the person out and said, "Hi, I have this new single guy, and I have this the ladies lined up here with their balloons." And before the dude said a word, all the balloons popped. Uh, and so then, the dude himself was very rigid in his thinking and said, "This isn't the way the rules of the game are played. Do they know the rules that I'm supposed to present myself and introduce myself to them? And then they should pop the balloon." So the speaker said, "No, they know the rules, but all their balloons are popped." And then she still tried to encourage him to kind of introduce himself. He said, "Well, why? The balloons are popped. They need to start over because I haven't started talking." They give him new balloons, and even before he starts finishing he talks maybe for 3 seconds, and then all the balloons get popped. So then he says, "Well, I'm going to stop talking because clearly these people don't want to get to know me. They don't know anything about me. I haven't said anything about myself. I haven't presented myself in any way." So we talked about, so that created a very exciting discourse in the group chat about how we are judging books by covers, and like, is that fair in human interactions, right? And we broke it down in several levels. So dating was the last level, but they were even talking about friendships, like, you know
Mm.
when we pick friends, what are the
Mhm,
qualities that we're picking? And
mhm,
is it what we observe of people or what people
mhm,
say about themselves?
mhm,
So one of the things that they argued for you, so you get an opportunity because you're such a figure now in the group chat, is, when brother talks, especially when it comes to women, the value he places on what they present and what he sees is very different than the opportunity to open the book and to read the book about this brotherhood that you've amassed. So, defend yourself a little bit. Why is it that women are only judged by their cover when it comes to you? But then the brotherhood gets to open themselves up, expose you to their mind, and become these wonderful champions of humankind.
Well, first off, I wouldn't consider what I do defending myself because I don't. Um, they're not my they're not my judge and jury, right? So
Oh, they're
I would say,
judging.
I say they can judge. I don't care. But they, like, again, like I said, their judgment has no power or authority over me. But what I'm trying to say is this: if that's how they see it, the way they seeing it is also twisted and off, because I don't know how the things that we talk about is related to it. Like, say for instance, somebody's Carfax has nothing to do with the way they appear. It has nothing to do with that.
Well, it
We
is.
talk
Wait
we
a minute.
talk about
Are you
we
sure?
talk about Carfax. Yeah, yeah, because
Okay, let me ask you.
when
So
we
the
talk about
Carfax has nothing to
Carfax,
do with their appearance. So it
no,
is
no, I'm saying
scripture.
appearance. I'm not trying to undermine appearance, because
Okay.
I do think that appearance is important on
Right.
many different levels. If it's not, then if appearance is not important
Mhm.
into the group chat and all this stuff, then I would say, I challenge you all to not go and use any cosmetic products ever again. Right? I challenge you to not take no shower, bath, or brush your teeth, comb your hair, brush it. Don't do none of that no more, right? Because the appearance,
Well, we have to separate appearance from hygiene.
if that, but hygiene,
We have to separate.
hygiene contributes to appearance.
Well,
It
we're not
contributes.
gonna ever, let's not ever do a call to action to tell people not to do the
I,
hygienic parts of
so what
their.
I'm trying to tell you is, then, if we don't do that, right? So again, this is extreme deal, right? So what I'm saying is, you must, you must, in terms of taking care of your organism, address hygiene and cosmetics. You must address it,
Okay.
right?
Okay. So
So
this is
that's the
challenge
same
for the
thing.
in the group
That's
chat.
the huh? So
This
that's
is
the same thing now, as the way a person is presenting themselves, right?
Mhm.
But it has nothing. So when we talking about Carfax and all this stuff, and then the other topics that we are talking about in women's character,
Uh-huh.
and their character or lack thereof or lack of virtue there, because the Carfax is an indication of their decision making process,
Okay.
right? That we are discussing. It's one aspect of that decision making process, but there's many other things that you look at when you're interacting with a person. Like one thing is like sincerity, self-centeredness, you know, a spirit of nurturing, these types of things. You look at that stuff. Also, kindness, compassion. Does a person really truthfully have those things, and
Mm-hmm.
how they interact with you and all of that kind of stuff. So all the same things that are happening, with the brotherhood happens with the interaction between a male and a female, but the things that really is not there, which I think women uh don't appreciate or look at. Because what I'm trying to say to you is in the connection with the males,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why males are closer because there's some real depth there inside of a bond. But in the interaction between male and a female, like I say, it's exploitative because they both trying to get something from each other in a certain type of way. So I will put it on the male side, right, to make it less inflammatory for the group chat. But let's just say a dude is around one of these girls in the group chat, and he really don't like her. He thinks she's not too smart, she's not too kind. She ain't even really that bad of a chick, like in the cosmetic dress up part. But he just say, well, you know, I'm just looking to see if the gate's open and notch this on the bedpost or whatever. And he just put up with it to get to that aspect of it, even though he don't think it has any kind of value, right? So that's
Right.
exploitative, is it not? Don't you agree?
I would agree that that's exploitative.
Yeah.
But what you just divided in what you just kind of shared was what I think the concern is that
Mhm.
there is a lot of exploitation even in
Mhm.
friendships and relationships. And
Mhm.
how do we break that down if we don't
Mhm.
then open up the books to get to know people and to understand what their values are and how they tick and why is that important? And I think that that's what the group chat all got to this week
Mhm.
was it's more important to get to know you, to be a part of that friendship dyad than
Mhm.
to just be a um, to respond to our visceral attractions. But we all were
True.
admitting that those visceral attractions are really, really hard to ignore. Like, and one of the things that came up was we're all reading a book. We're reading a book by
What's it
Eric.
called?
It's a book by Eric Jerome Dickey. So if you know who this author is, he's like a romance kind of smut tales. So in the
Y'all shouldn't be doing that to y'all. So all the husbands, go ahead and burn them books up, because that's a that's
listen,
that's attaching them to this fantasy realm, and that could cause problems there. But go
listen,
ahead.
the smut tales are they do allow you to kind of look at fantasies and give you pictures of yourself that you wouldn't do there, and they're easy to read. That's what I enjoy about the smut. I don't, some of these other books they just take such a long time to read, but uh, but the smut tales, you're dying to figure out like what's happening next. So in the book though, the character has two men. One that's on paper is very good for her, and then there's a bad boy kind of persona, and so she actually gets engaged to both of them.
Lord have mercy. Her virtue is super tarnished, isn't it?
So and
That's that's
they
an
don't
ethical question
initially
there.
they don't initially know that she's engaged to the
Mm,
both of
mm,
them.
mm.
And then but she has all these like background kind of responses and reactions. Like she's really anxious. One day she wore the ring that the other person had proposed to her with. So there's all these like little kind of faux pas that happened. But as we broke down what it must have felt like for that woman not to get everything in that one man, which is what the group chat kind of came to, is like we're looking for this wholeness in people that maybe a lot of people haven't found.
So so that's so you just
Well, and I
identified clearly why that smut what you say smut tails is no
was my
good. First of all, you gotta definitely be conscientious of what you're digesting, just the same way as of you digesting healthy food, mental food. But that whole setup is all the way off
so do
in
give us
many different ways.
these intelligent women, to include your sister. I'm loving the book. I'm enjoying it. It's a great book.
Well,
Um,
I'm
we
gonna talk to my brother-in-law and tell him like you need to be careful of that stuff because
don't sell us short.
many
Give us
many a
the
woman went awry reading these smut tales as a thing that opens their
story.
Pandora box up mentally. I'm gonna talk.
Absolutely not.
I gotta talk to my brother-in-law on this.
Absolutely not.
I think that's a big error. Smut
What I
tales
will
need to be
encourage
banned
every
in the
woman that's
household.
listening to, what I do is encourage every woman that's listening to this, smut tales are the way to go. It's
No, they're
good
not.
for fantasy. And remember,
Please don't listen. Please don't listen to that.
listen to
Please.
this. Take my advice. It creates a lot of fun for you. It's entertainment, just like watching TV. Just like watching TV doesn't make you want to go out and do all this. Like I'm not jumping off a
It
building.
does. Have you ever heard of the Tetris effect?
I have heard of that, but
Yeah, it
these
does. And
are very
that stuff is real because I could listen to, like that's why they say like, even ethnic music, like hip hop music,
right.
it has a certain type of messaging in it and it encourages a whole bunch of people to follow a certain path. And then you think of it later and be like, why was I doing that? And
These are
then you
underdeveloped humans. You're talking about the people that want to be led. I am talking to you
we are
about people.
all animals. We are human beings are animals. You need to be careful.
Now I can tell you, I can assure you that first of all, it doesn't even. I realize like certain music doesn't even resonate with me because I need to be able to hear the words, and I can't hear them in like. I like beats in like that kind of music that you're talking about, but or like rap music and stuff. But I
Mhm.
like the Afro beats, which the Afro music that's not necessarily saying a bunch of foolishness, but
Man,
even
all you just some of them joints. There's this little song, I forget DeVito or something. He's like, the money fall on you, then the banana fall on you, and all that stuff.
these
That's like
are
smut.
symbols.
That's
They're
a smut.
symbolic.
That's a
These
smut
are
song.
no, it is a smut song, but it's
Yeah.
symbolism. But recognize that we are really like I'm talking to the actualized people, not the people that are vibrating on the lowest frequency. We should be able to read a book and not then be able to say, I'm gonna be the character in this book, get engaged, times to live these double lives. So it is a way, like reading is a way to kind of it's entertainment. It's another form of entertainment. So I do
But
not
what jumped out? So to me, what jumped out at me at the things is again the decisions and the interactions of this female, right? And obviously, like you said, the author. I got some familiarity with the author, and is ratchet. Let's just say it's ratchet off the top. But your thought process and your analysis was finding everything in one person
exactly
versus
how we came
versus
to it.
versus 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 looking at the object of so that's looking outside the self of the primary character, the protagonist in this situation, right?
Mhm.
But to me, anybody who is like that, right? First of all, they got some moral issues, right? The fact that you would have that level of intimacy in multiple relationships, right? Meaning
Okay,
you're going to actually be engaged
to
to
two
two
people.
men and no they don't know about each other and you doing deception to play with. So that tells me that internally that person they lacking.
But could
So
we
if they lacking,
see you always want to get to this kind of like I just at the surface,
hmm
stay at the surface for a second. Can we
hmm
both agree that when people are entering these romantic phases, they're looking for a wholeness that I think, at least from the group chat, many women have not found that in one person.
well, I think they don't have it in themselves. That's the problem. See now, the whole aspect of interpersonal commingling, right, is
Mhm.
the fact that you feel, some sort of emptiness or void that you're trying to fill in. And in this, you're hoping that you can find this thing in some external person, which ain't even possible. So the fact to me, what it show when a person is trying, like I say, try to have that level of intimate relationship is they are indelibly broken. They can't even you can't even fix that type of brokenness. You know what I mean? Because it, technically speaking, and I find this with my own self personally. I wonder you as an actualized individual if find this to be true. But I think I'm learning new things about myself every day,
I think most
and
people do.
I've been with myself all my life, and I feel like it's amazing because I'll be thinking like, wow, it's certain things that I didn't put attention on, like the patterns that I naturally have.
Hmm.
And then I'll look back and I'll be like, damn, I've always been that way. And I'm just curious why that thing draws my attention or interest. So long story short, in this way, I don't lack anything of myself, like how we were saying in terms of which you might make that comment of filling up the closet. Well, I made space in the closet myself intentionally just because of this idea that's I don't make room for anybody in my life in that type of way. But
Hmm.
personally, I'm very full. Like, in terms of what I give myself and what I do for myself, not external tangible things, but just personal daily commitments that I adhere to. That
Hmm.
when that happens, I look at it and I just be like, that fulfilled me. That made
Hmm.
me happy or whatever. It don't got nothing to do with like an external person. You know what I mean? But when you looking for uh someone to fill in a gap in your life and you look at it and say, well, that person can't fill in all this gap for me,
Hmm.
then something is already awry in
Hmm.
it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I think that if you was already full, then when you with yourself, and I say like, because you could be full with yourself and still have make room for a person in your life. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then when you do that, you'll start realizing that how uh wonderful, of a undiscovered universe that person is and all the dimensions that they have and all the things that you have to discover in them. But if they already something that don't align with you, like I don't know what was up with the two characters in the book or whatever, but if they was already missing an aspect that don't align with you, then maybe that you know maybe you shouldn't even been playing with that to begin with, like Grandma Rose said, right,
Well,
about the
but
two ugly people
I
who
think
shouldn't be talking.
you're oversimplifying things. I think that the characters in the book represent this idea, this notion that there can be sides of us. Like, so that's what I'm saying, this wholeness where this person had a deep attraction to both of the partners in the book. They served very, very primal roles. One, though, had this edge and kind of bad boy feel that perhaps you didn't want to live with that all the time, but that was an exciting part of um their 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 interaction pattern. And I see this all the time. Like I really see this all the time in relationships where you look at somebody and you're like, how did that person get that person? So I think there is some truth to what the dichotomy that was presented there, where like there's this one woman who needs two aspects of herself, maybe not at the same time. And when she was in the stages she was in, she had a hard time choosing. So, but eventually, to get to the kind of aha, is they found out about it, each other.
The guys.
The guys. Hmm.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so, of course, she's the one left, but she carries this incredible guilt. And, then her life obviously spirals after that. So, and what was interesting is that when they find out about each other, which one of the characters do you think was like you have to choose? Was it like the one that had the stable life, the money, the safe one, or was it the one that was like, um
I don't know, because in my viewpoint, this is this, right? That again, I look at a person, they got multiple dimensions and there's a dichotomy in every individual, meaning that, you know how like a stem cell got the potential to be anything, you
Mm-hmm.
know? I feel like every human being is in that same kind of category. That's why it's really difficult to be like self-righteous, you know?
Right. I would
Because
agree with that.
like if I'm starving and I
I'm
and you know, if we're gonna die in 24 hours in case we don't get a meal, and I'm sitting here with a bunch of hungry kids, and we all about to die, then yeah, if I gotta still do whatever I gotta do, I'm gonna make sure that I do that so that we can survive. So
mhm,
but I'm in general, I don't think stealing and doing all that stuff is cool. Like I don't think it's morally act correct, but I could
mhm.
see how a set of circumstances would put you in a situation to where um, you gotta do what you gotta do,
Well,
right?
why?
So
So if you can make that kind of room for this moral kind of space, why
mhm.
not make room for the woman who was engaged
So
to 2
so I it's funny when you so I'm gonna do that then. Let me make room for that kind of a mentality because I think you like highlighted it, identified something to me that, like I said, every day I learn and grow, and in this moment I feel like you evolving me, so I'm gonna adapt to it, right? Which is
Okay,
this,
look at this.
which I feel like I realized that if we put the shoe on the other foot and instead of it being the girl who's engaged to two people, what if it was the man in that situation and two women wanted to be engaged with him, and now y'all women in this feminist world, you asked that man to marry y'all and y'all done invested and rings for him or whatever that he's rocking and all that stuff and taking off and putting on when he wants.
Mhm.
I wonder the impression that y'all have on that when the man is looking at you and saying, there's an aspect of you that fulfills me, but then there's an aspect of this other woman that fulfills me too. So I like both of them. Like this one is exciting and thrilling, and this one is like professional and stable and put together. But I like both of those things, but maybe not too much of both of them.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I could see how a man could easily be in that situation, just like the woman is in it. But
Very
one
good.
thing, but one thing I will say though,
But you didn't diminish the man. You didn't say he was morally bankrupt.
no, the dude is more any. So once again, any human being that's conducting themselves in deceptive ways and stuff like that is that's ethically wrong.
Although you gave yourself wiggle room when you said, "If I'm lying for your benefit, I'm not a liar." So, you see how you
No,
do that?
no,
You
no,
see how
no.
you
What
do
I'm
that?
saying, I'm not saying that if I'm lying for your benefit, I'm taking the lying part out. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about communicating in a way that's adapted to the fantasy life that the woman wants to live in. Like I said, if she wants to ask me if she got a horrible outfit on, how that looks on her, and I know she doesn't want me to tell her like that look horrible for real. She don't really want that answer. Then I won't give her that answer, but I ain't gonna lie to her and be like, yeah, you look amazing in that outfit or whatever. I'll find another way of. So I don't condone deceiving, lying, and all that stuff. Because again, that's personally ethical issue. But I will say, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this, that like I told you that I feel like a bunch of men have been raised under the consciousness of women.
Okay.
And to me, that experience that you describe where a person is seeking, feeling like they ain't fulfilled in a certain type of ways of the reality that they're orchestrating. Because to me, in her situation, the men are the ones that are seeking her, it seems like. And they want to create a life. They want to pull her into their life situation. So she has these options and paths to choose that blows up on her. But what I'm trying to say is if a man is doing the same type of thing, which he's conducting himself in like just happenstance, like this woman just happened to come along and another one, and both of them got some things I like or whatever. I'm trying to juggle it in this type of way. That's really a feminine trait. So he's acting like a woman and doing that. Like most men, when that the thing about a man, a trait about that I think is a masculine trait, is definitive resolution. Like I know the path we're going on. I'm leading down this path, so I already selected the person I want to create a life with, and I'm a build this life with that person, and all this stuff. Like most, the masculine energy is the one that ain't playing these type of games. You know what I mean? So even if there is men that are doing, living the lifestyle what you said in that book, then to me they operating on they feminine principle. You know what I mean? Not
Well,
their masculine principle for
I think
real.
you have such a very traditional view of relationships. And I also think that I really do. And I also think the idea of like what you're saying, masculine versus like, I think there are, because the same truths can be applied across the genders. Like, you know,
Mhm.
did
Mhm.
are these really masculine versus feminine traits, or are they really like the value set that undergirds our decision making and how we're morally ascribed? And there are cultures where monogamy, because we're centering monogamy in this discussion, is
Mhm.
not the primary method of love and romance. This,
100%.
this
But
culture
even
does that.
and I totally feel you on that. Like I'm not you'll find no argument here. You in regards to that. You'll find no argument here. But I feel I feel like this though. Either way though, there's a duty and obligation and responsibility that a man has to something in that way. Cause see, like women look at the non-monogamous life as this like free flowing thing. You know what I mean? Whereas like a dude in a like a polygamous lifestyle, polyamorous lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, like monopoly lifestyle, whatever it is. In this way, the dude has an obligation to the partners he has in it though. Where I feel like a woman don't really grasp that aspect of the obligation that you have in duty to these people, you know? So that's the
Duty?
fundamental difference.
I have
Yeah.
no freaking idea what you're talking about. You always say,
Cause see that I
so
know I know I know you don't because that's a frequency that's in the vibration that y'all women don't have.
well,
You
I
know what I
don't.
mean?
I think there are like I think you do yourself a disservice believing that there are women who cannot be polyamorous. There are many women who are polyamorous and embrace it. I think if you're going to be, and there's other
Hmm.
forms of love, but let's just use polyamory, and they embrace it. I think the problem is how it's communicated, and it's not socially accepted. And so to see a woman drive that, right, to see a woman be the driving force behind that, to say like, hey, I can't, I can fall in love with multiple people. I think for you and a lot of men, that's a hard thing to swallow. But let you know, there are women that do that. They are leading in that way. There
Oh,
are a
I
lot.
already know that you don't gotta let me know. You don't have to like me. I feel like this.
But why not
Like
accept that? Why
there's
not
more
accept
there's
that?
more human beings that are doing that. I put it this way: monogamy is a minority in this world. Like polygamy
But
is the
polyamory,
majority, and
but
this
see,
just
well,
like in that book that you're reading. That's
well,
polyamorous
well,
woman in this book.
yeah,
Now, what
she
I'm trying to say is
was.
most women, like you say, you think the man think he got this nice housewife or trophy wife or whatever that, he done selected, you know, invested in all this stuff. But the moment he leave the house to go to work, she done invited the mailman in or the garbage man in, and he done shared this woman with this man, and she polyamorous while he think he monogamous.
Well, and that
So
happens.
this,
That's so polyamory, let's not get it twisted, is different than cheating. What you described was cheating. Polyamory is an agreement. It's a type of a relational. So cheating is totally different because I think that's done to be deceptive. I think polyamory is done to say that I can love people in various ways. I can be in love with multiple people people and I can be enriched by those people. So it's a
Well, and
different.
in that way, I feel like ain't a I like I said, you find no argument from me in that because if that's the culture and that's the lifestyle, then I find no fault in that at all.
Well, that's wonderful. And I think the biggest thing that everybody needs to take away from this discussion is this: it should be done by choice. So
Mm-hmm.
when you cheat,
Mm-hmm.
you try
Mm-hmm.
you don't give your partner the obligation to choose if they want to be in that situation or not. You've
Mm-hmm.
decided for them. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's never, so that's a whole nother discussion that's different than what, you know, was brought up in
Mm-hmm.
the book. But I think it's an important one
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, when you look at people who are cheating and have cheated on people and the consequences of that, it's like so many dust in the air. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so many
Mm-hmm.
fragments of the pain that that's caused
Mm-hmm.
instead
Mm-hmm.
of just being honest about what you do. And I think because people are, there's many reasons people cheat. There's not just
Mm-hmm.
one reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I will say this, that there's a lot of consequences that for everybody involved in the environment. Let's just say you're
100. Mm-hmm.
a married person.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
you the family breaks down, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the family
Mm-hmm.
breaks down. There's a cost for your children. There's a cost for your in-laws. There's a cost for you personally.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think that's something that's not talked about enough is the personal burden of the person who has done the cheating. But because the person who's been cheated on, it doesn't matter about that personal burden. We spend a lot of time comforting the person who's been victimized. But there is a cost for the person who's done the cheating too. That's totally different than loving multiple people and being in a committed consensual relationship that starts out with that framework.
Well, I totally agree, but that's why I got confused on what you're saying because when you started this thing out, you said the girl is engaged with two different
Well,
men,
she was
and they
cheating.
didn't know that
But
so
he
she was in
was
the cheating dynamic.
he was
So,
cheating. So that wasn't the point. The point though was
hmm
that there is an idea that there's a
hmm
one person wholeness thing that I think needs to be talked about more because I don't think relationships are that simple. And it could be that now I'm not saying that
they are that simple though.
I
See,
don't think
like
it's
that's
so,
the
well, do
technology
you think that you would be
the
everything to
enchantment.
one woman?
That's it.
You really
I'm
believe
everything to myself
you
first
can be everything
because
to yourself?
all relationship is a reflection of the relationship you have with yourself.
Okay,
So
you are so stubborn.
I'm everything to myself first.
Are you
So
really?
that
Are you
yes,
everything to
yes,
yourself?
I'm everything to
So
myself
then why is
first.
solitary confinement so difficult? If you're everything to yourself, why is solitary confinement so difficult?
I don't know. As you know what, solitary confinement is difficult because there's a benefit, you know, for multiple people being together, right?
Yes,
So
there
let me
is
just say this
energy
for example.
exchange.
I'm gonna give you a very simple benefit that how like your life is enhanced by other people, right?
Mhm, mhm,
So like let's just say batteries, you know, like double A, triple A batteries, this basic batteries, right?
mhm.
So basic batteries go into a lot of things, like the remote controls that control the TV, all this stuff. Now I don't know who makes batteries in the world, but God bless them. I'm so happy that they make it and they do that as a business so that they can make my life more simple by me simply going to buy that battery that they make and replacing it when these ones die and I need to do that. So I say that's the benefit gain where we bring different types of values and stuff like that to
Mhm.
each other. I mean, just like in my whole being, my whole self right now, I have a left hand and I have a right hand, and I don't want to do without either one. I ain't
To be
trying to cut the left hand off and
to
then
be
walk
sure.
around with this right hand only. So what I'm trying to say to you is inside of myself, I'm everything to myself first. So
Okay.
then
First.
so yeah, first, I'm everything to myself first.
Mhm.
And in this way I realize, look at everything I've done for myself. So this stuff that I do for myself, I can benefit another,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
I look at and in this way I got something to bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then me bringing it to the table, I feel in my own heart I got a overwhelming sense to give a lot to someone and not be like, well, I lack something,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. I don't know what it could be. Maybe let's just say I lack a warm body in the bed at night.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and because I lack this warm body in bed, I'm out seeking it, everywhere. I need
Mm-hmm.
this warm body. Then I find one, and
Mm-hmm.
then that warm body got to leave me for some reason. Maybe it's not even some stupid reason. Their family member got sick and they got to go somewhere for 2 weeks. Now I don't got the warm body, and because the warm body is so important to me, I'm going to find another warm body,
Mm-hmm.
right? But to fill in the gap until that other one come back, right? So what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying to you is that that how can anyone fulfill you if you don't fulfill yourself first? You
Well,
know?
that's a great point. I see
Hmm.
that a little differently. But when
Hmm.
we're bringing in partnerships, there's certainly something about a partner that might be different about yourself that's attracting you to that person. So the idea of wholeness that I saw represented in this book is that there are things that both partners brought that created a sense of wholeness, but they didn't all have that. Like the good guy didn't have the bad guy mentality. The bad guy didn't have the good guy mentality. So there was not in this particular dynamic that character didn't find a person that had all those things that made them whole. I think that the character could have had a lot of things that they valued about themselves if you look at it that way, and they were centering themselves, but they were looking for something external. And I think we all are in friendships and relationships that add that different value, that distinction. And I think that's not talked about enough because there is it possible to really find in one person everything you need? I would say
I
no.
think so.
We have
I think it.
no,
I think. I
not
think. I think it's. I think
we
it's
don't even have
possible.
one friend. We don't
Hmm.
even have one, I don't think so.
Now,
I
to
think
me, I think it's different because, like, even when I was growing up in the neighborhood, right,
mhm,
that grew up in Fox Chapel or whatever.
mhm.
My one friend in Fox was Halim.
Yes.
Yeah, he was with me all the time, and we was together all the time doing mad shit all the time. Well, when Halim was filling that position and that role in my life, it wasn't nobody else that I would say like is equal at that equal type of level to
Mm,
him in
mhm.
my eyes. You know what I mean? So I say that to say to you that it's the same way with my life presently. You know what I mean? Like I don't I don't need, like, even if I did have multiple friends or whatever,
Mhm,
the degree that I'm close to them is different. You know what
mhm,
I mean? And I
mhm,
would say, but the truth is this: one person could fulfill you if you spent enough time getting to know all the aspects of that person, and if they was at the magnitude that you're at. Because you, I was just thinking this the other night. Legacy. Because most people want to extend their legacy through their offspring, right?
yes.
But then I thought about the one person on this planet who probably will exist, you know, in thought and all this, and has no offspring is Jesus Christ. He didn't have any children, right?
Okay.
So he don't have no offspring to uphold his legacy. But I think he gonna expand beyond every human being
Mhm,
existence
mhm.
off of his contribution to the world through the example, the way he lived his life. You know
Okay.
what I mean? So in that way, he's fully whole,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Without needing no external partner and all this kind of stuff to make that thing up.
mhm,
So I look at it and I say, well, then in myself, how come, you know, there's like this unspoken requirement that you need a partner and all that. I don't need that to make myself whole because I'm always going to be with me, you know,
okay,
and I'm always going to do for me and I'm always going to provide for me and protect for me and all this stuff. But
you need
what?
then you need to live the life of Jesus. So are
Well,
you ready to
I
do
can't
that?
be because that's not what was written for my path. I can only live the life of Xavier, you know what I mean? But what I'm gonna say to you in this is that certainly one person could fulfill you, right? If they was at the magnitude that you're at, right?
Mm, mhm.
And that you are also willing to embrace them,
In that
at
same
this level. And also, yeah, because like like I could say there's a bunch of guys who are like dangerous, you
mm,
know
mhm.
like to me, like they say the interaction between men or whatever, there's always a possibility of violence that could happen, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
anytime like that occurs, it's a 50-50 chance of how that goes.
mhm.
It ain't no guarantee that I could be sitting at the table across the table from Tyrion Lannister, like the midget
Right,
dude, right?
right.
And I'll be thinking, man, but do something, do something, take my life. Who knows? You know what I
Right,
mean? But
right,
I'm not going to look at that and not register it as a real threat risk,
right.
to that. So what I'm trying to say to you is that everybody got the possibility of enhancing and expanding you in some kind of a way if you're willing to embrace
If
it.
you're willing to embrace
Yeah,
it.
if you're
Is it
willing to
just
embrace it.
one person? I guess that's
Hmm.
we're gonna have to leave that question sitting on the
Hmm.
shelf. The time here flies so fast.
I feel you.
And we got to finish something off though, because uh wrapping full circle, we were talking about judging a book by its cover. In that popping the balloon situation, there was like an after show, and they asked the women why did they pop the balloon. It was because of the shoes that he had on his feet.
Yeah, he had on like a full outfit, but he had on like the what, open toe sandals or some
Heels,
crazy thing.
and they just felt like that represented something. Now they couldn't articulate what it represented well, but it represented something. And what I was left with was that, when we are just looking at what people represent, what they have on, we do miss the deep value inside. And I
Hmm.
think that if you talk to people, they say, "Oh, I want this connection and warmth and understanding." Well, that doesn't happen by not getting to know, and to be giving, not getting to know a person and not giving each other grace. So we all need
100%.
grace.
And I
And
like the way he responded, where he said, "Are you dating the shoes? Like, these is like just footwear. You dating the shoes? Nah, because
right.
truth be told, you right. Like, and
He
we
likes
and
himself. He definitely, one of the things that I honored when that dude was, he knew himself. And he
hmm
all what I would have loved to have had was to hear what he thought of the women,
me
because
too.
he was very indifferent about their rejection.
Hmm.
He
Hmm.
didn't
Hmm.
internalize it.
Hmm.
Where I've seen this, actually, practically speaking. When I was young, I went out to the club with me and my girlfriends, and one of my girlfriends always, no matter what, if somebody talked to us, she talked back. And
Hmm.
sometimes I would say something smart or snap and do something like that. And one time we went to these clubs, we walking through all these dudes, and I snapped back because with so many of us, many of them bothering us. And she said, Sarita, don't do that. She said, these dudes, if you do that, they might cut you in the face and mess your career.
That's true. You ain't
She was
lying.
like, you don't know what's gonna happen. And so after,
Hmm.
it's like, we just gotta get through here safely. And I hadn't had that perspective before.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
she was like, no, we don't be getting too smart, because if they get rejected too much, they're gonna be upset about it and they're gonna do something
Hmm.
funny.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
said, like, you gotta be
Wise girl, wise woman.
she was wise, because after that, I
Hmm.
was like, all right, y'all, hey, how y'all doing? You gonna buy us a drink? But she gave us that, she gave me that context, because I was just annoyed that we couldn't even get through the crowd with all this stuff happening.
Hmm.
So, but that taught me something too, that people really don't know how to deal with conflict or being told no. They're like toddlers.
Hmm.
And that's why we have a lot of the incidents of domestic violence that we see.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Jealousy, periods of jealousy, and I'm talking about within relationships and within friendships.
Hmm.
Friends can get jealous of you, so you have to be able to, like, be aware enough that's happening. And I don't think we spend enough time knowing it. I know whenever I recognize that I'm in some that kind of situation, it's after something has happened and I'm like, yo, what just happened? Like, why are we
Mhm.
talking
Mhm.
about something? So I don't
Mhm.
think we spend enough time teaching ourselves to have that level of intuition. Um, because people are complex. And at the end of the day, what we really all want is to be connected and accepted and loved.
100%.
So as much as you talk about your closet is empty because you want it empty, the group chat try to help you fill that closet, and they feel so much about lost
Let's
love.
see. This is the thing. I'm not saying that I want it empty. What I'm trying to say is that it ain't a priority to me to go out and seek to, you know, to do it because I lack nothing. Yeah, I
Right,
got a fullness in my life, and that fullness comes from what I give myself. You
right.
know, I don't need like somebody else on the outside to, because you could be inside of being connected with people and still feel empty and
Hmm.
lonely and unfulfilled,
Hmm.
just like that girl, right,
Yeah.
in the story. Yeah, but to me, I feel happy that without that, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I don't want to undermine, or devalue the people that are in my life that do bring fullness to it. Because like I said, like I got a bunch of people that radiate love to me that definitely grateful for and appreciative of. And I
Very
feel that love and I want to reflect it back, amplify it too.
right,
But
right.
it's not, but it don't I don't necessarily, like I said, it start with you first because all relationship is a reflection of the relationship you have with yourself. If you got emptiness, it'll be empty everywhere.
Absolutely. I
Hmm.
will we will rest on that point,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna enjoy my birthday for every month. So every time happy birthday, sister.
Yeah,
Um,
happy birthday to you now.
thank you. And thank you all for joining us. We'll be back, same place, same bad channel next week, talking about whatever it is that we want to talk about. Thank you for hanging out with us in the garden.